Guys, are you able to hear me? Hello, guys. You able to hear me and also see the screen?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, so basically, we're just gonna be revising what we have been doing, and by now, I'm expecting you guys to be acing this. Um, unless if you have any other question, but we're gonna start with question four, number four. And I'm not going to be writing this one, so I'm going to start writing from number six over here because I believe that number four, it's just simple stuff. We can just say all of these without writing, right? Let's start with A for A. How are we going to simplify this? Where 2x in brackets to the power of 3.
Sorry, ma'am. We're gonna multiply the 3, ma'am, inside the brackets.
Okay, I'm listening.
So, ma'am, it's gonna be 2, 2 to the power of 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then, ma'am, it's gonna be x 1 times 3 because, ma'am, the x has an invisible exponent 1, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 to the power of 3. Sorry, ma'am. Ma'am,
Mm-hmm.
can you hear me? Ma'am?
Yes.
Oh, ma'am, 2 to the power of 3 is gonna give me 8, ma'am. And then, ma'am, it's gonna be 8x to the power of 3.
8x to the power of 3, perfect. And then let's look at B. Langelike B, you have negative x in brackets to the power of 3. How are we going to simplify that?
And isn't the answer going to be negative x to the power of 3? Or do you have to do more?
You're saying the answer is going to be,
Negative x to the power of 3.
how did you get there?
I added the power of 3 to the x because it's the only unit there inside the bracket. Then I moved the brackets since I already solved the equation.
So negative x multiplied by negative x is positive x squared multiplied by negative x is going to be negative x to the power of 3. And C says in bracket we have 5a to the power of 3. 5a in brackets to the power of 3. How are we going to solve this or simplify it?
Am I still asking me?
Yes.
Ma'am, first, first you write in its own bracket 5 to the power of 3 and 8 to the power of 3 in its own bracket. Then the final answer will be 125 to the power of 8. And let me repeat that. 125 8 to the power of 3.
125 3. 125 8 to the power of 3. Perfect. And we see where E we have negative 3m to the power of 3. How are we solving that?
Ma'am, so ma'am is going to be negative 3 to the power of 3, and then m 1 times 3, ma'am. And then it gives me negative 27 m to the power of 3.
Negative 27, perfect. Okay, let's move to what? To 6. And for 6, we have A, which is uh, 5A minus 2A in brackets to the power of 3. How are we going to simplify that? Anyone?
Ma'am, may you please repeat who should answer the question?
What?
May you please repeat who should answer the question?
May I please repeat what?
Who should answer the question?
No, I mean, anyone can answer. You can answer it as well.
Okay, ma'am, is it fine if I... Okay, ma'am, I'll answer it. First, you write in... Ma'am, should I tell you the answer or should I tell you how I got it, then the answer?
How you got the answer?
Ma'am, first thing you write is 5 to the power of 3 in its own bracket, and then 8 to the power of 3 in its own bracket, minus 2 to the power of 3 in its own bracket, and 8 to the power of 3 in its own bracket. Adding them together will equal... Hey, ma'am, please give me a moment.
Okay.
Ma'am, the next thing you write is 121. The answer will be 125, 8 to the power of 3 minus 8, 8 to the power of 3. Then the final answer will be 120 to the power of 3, 3 to the power of 3, I believe.
Okay, 128 to the power of 3. Okay, thank you. Busisi, where?
Ma'am, should I answer the same question?
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am, so I um solved what's inside the bracket, ma'am. I said 5A minus 2A, ma'am, which gave me 3A. So, ma'am, it's brackets 3A to the power of 3, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
And then, ma'am, I said 3 to the power of 3, A 1 times 3. And then, ma'am, my final answer is 27A to the power of 3.
27A to the power of 3. So, Langelihle, for this one, you're not going to square, or rather to multiply the 3 with the power of whatever that's inside the brackets, because there's a minus in between the numbers. So basically, the minus that you're seeing over here limits you. Yeah? There's things that you can do, there's things that you cannot do, right? So the best way for you is to check if whether whatever that's inside the brackets can be simplified. If it can be simplified, then you simplify it, and then you then solve the whole thing like we did in the previous questions, right? So if there's a minus in between or plus in between, that's sorry, this three, the exponent is not going to multiply all the exponents inside the brackets. Does that make sense? So we won't multiply the 5 to the power 1 with that power of 1 with 3, because there's a minus in between which limits us to do so. right?
Yes, I understand now, ma'am.
Great. Now let's do Langelihle B. How are we going to do B?
Ma'am, first you add everything inside the bracket. Then the answer for that will be inside the bracket you write 10x to the power of 2 close bracket to the power of 3. Then after that,
Wait, you said 10x to the power of 2.
wait, no, I said yes, 10x to the power of 2, yes,
Where is the power of 2 coming from?
from adding the two x's together. Wait,
When you
actually, never mind. Never mind. I think just this is x.
hmm
So next we'll write in separate brackets 10 to the power of 3 and x to the power of 3. Then my final answer will be my final answer will be 1000 x to the power of 3.
so we have 10x close bracket to the power of 3. Then we can say 10 to the power of 3 x to the power of 3. You said 10 to the power of 3 is 10,000, right? Then it's going to be 10,000 x to the power of 3, which is going to be the final answer for this. And then if we look at C, we have 4b plus b to the power of 3. We're going to solve whatever that's inside the brackets, which is going to be 5b, going to close the bracket to the power of 3, which is going to give us 5 to the power of 3. Here's 5 cubed, b cubed, right? Which is going to be what? Which is going to be 125b to the power of 3, 125b cubed. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. And if we look at D, for D we have 13x minus 6x is going to be 7x, right? Is it going to be 7? 7x to the power of 3, which can also be written as 7x, 7x, 7x. 7 times 7 times 7, how much is it? I think it's 2, 4, 3. And then x times x is going to be x to the power of 3. And then our answer is going to be 343 x to the power of 2. Are we happy? Language say E, they say 17x plus that. How are we going to do that?
Ma'am, first you add the inside together and that answer will be 20. Then, like you did by the left, you put three 20s in different brackets next to each other. Then the final answer will be 80, the power of x. Wait, no, 80x, the power of 3.
So you have 20 to the power of 3. What is 20 multiplied by 20?
20 multiplied by 20 is 40.
20 multiplied by 20. Which calculator are you using? I'd recommend you to not use that calculator.
No, ma'am, I typed it out wrong, ma'am. I forgot the zero. Yes, ma'am, the answer is 400.
20 multiplied by 20 multiplied by 20. 400 multiplied by 20.
The answer is 8,000.
Or is the thing is the 20 is the 8,000 you said 800 is the 800 from the 20 multiplied by 20 or multiplied by 20.
No, I said 8,000. It's from, yeah, 20 multiplied by 20 multiplied by 20.
So it's 320s multiplying each other.
Yes.
And they gave you 8,000. So that means the answer is 8,000x to the power of 3. And lastly, we see C where we have F. For number 6, we have F over here. 20y minus 14y to the power of 3.
And then we're gonna subtract 20. So I'm gonna say 20y minus 14y, ma'am. We're gonna get 6y to the power of 3, ma'am. And then, ma'am, it's gonna be 6 to the power of 3, y 1 times 3. And then, ma'am, my final answer is 216 y to the power of 3, ma'am.
Okay, so 6 times 6 times 6 is what?
Ma'am, 216.
106. Yeah. 6 times 6 is 36 times 6. Okay, makes sense. Okay. All right. Let's move to this one over here. Oh, we have two people over here. Tabang and his friend Wuisa were asked to simplify square root of 2a to the power of 2 multiplied by 2a to the power of 2, right? And they said Tabang reasoned as follows. To find the square root of a number is the same as asking yourself the question, which number was multiplied by itself? The number that is multiplied by itself is 2a to the power of 2. Therefore, square root of 2a squared multiplied by 2a squared is equal to 2a to the power of 2. And then we use what reasoned over here. I should first simplify 2 to the power of a multiplied by 2 to the power of a to get 4a to the power of 4. Then calculate square root of 4a to the power of 4, which is equal to 2a to the power of 2. Now they're asking which of the two methods do you prefer and explain why. Let's start with you, BCC. We're between the two, between Vuiswa's method and Tabang's method. Which one do you prefer and why?
Ma'am, I prefer Visual's reason, ma'am.
Let's go.
Pardon me, ma'am.
The reason.
Ma'am, because, ma'am, he followed the exponential rules, ma'am.
Okay.
That
Um,
when
mhm.
ma'am, we have the same basis, we multiply, and then ma'am, we add the exponents, ma'am.
When we multiply the same basis, we add the exponents. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, no problem. And um, let's hear. Langile, between the two methods, which one do you prefer and why?
Ma'am, I prefer Papang's reason, ma'am.
Uh-huh. Why?
Ma'am, because ma'am, it's simpler to put on a calculator.
What?
Even am I supposed to say a scientific reason or just a normal reason why?
Explanation, just explanation.
And if the explanation is supposed to be related, is it supposed to be to preference or is it subjective? Is yeah, ma'am, I think you know what I mean, ma'am.
Um, I don't know what you mean, but I just want you to tell me why would you prefer Tabak's method?
Ma'am, because it's more simple. It's simpler to write on a calculator, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Um, let's look at um number two over here. They say whether each of the following statements or following is true or false. Give your give a reason for your answer. And the first one is a square root of 6x multiplied by 6x is equal to 6x. Let's start with you. We'll see where. We'll see where. Guys, are you still here?
Sorry, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
Ma'am, A is true, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
Um, ma'am, should I give a reason, ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, because ma'am, when you multiply 6x by 6x, ma'am, you get 36x squared. And then, ma'am, the square root of 36x squared is 6x, ma'am.
How do you know that 12 of 36x squared is that?
Ma'am,
How do you know that the square root of 36x squared is 6x?
sorry, ma'am, please repeat your question.
How do you know that square root of 36 is equal x squared is equal to 6x?
Ma'am, because ma'am, the square root of 36 is 6, and then ma'am, I also said ma'am 2 divided by 2, ma'am, which gave me 1.
2 divided by 2. Why are you dividing 2
Ma'am,
with
because it's a square root, ma'am, and oh ma'am, we can either say 36 times 1 over 2, ma'am. No.
no?
No, ma'am. The first reason is, yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm sticking with my first reason.
What was your first reason?
Ma'am, that when we multiply 6x by 6x, ma'am, I get 36x squared. And then, ma'am, the square root of 36x squared gives me 6x, ma'am.
I want to know, how do you know that the square root of 36x squared is equal to 6x?
Because, ma'am, the square root of 36 is 6. And then, ma'am, for the exponent, I divided it by 2, ma'am.
Why are you dividing it by 2?
Ma'am, I don't know. It was something we were taught, ma'am.
Okay. So basically, Langelisa, this is what she is saying. I'm just gonna try to do this. So she's saying she multiplied whatever that's inside the bracket and it gave her 36x to the power of 2. And from here, when we remove the square root, we're going to have what? We're going to have 36x to the power of 1 over 2. Okay. And then we have 36 to the power of 1 over 2. Remember, we said the square root, no, sorry, we said the exponent outside the bracket is 4, is going to multiply every exponent inside the bracket, given that there is no a subtraction or addition between these terms inside the bracket, okay? It's going to be 36 to the power of 1 multiplied by 1 over 2, right? That's why I'm having 1 over 2 there. And then I'm going to have x squared. Again, this is squared. X squared multiplied by 1 over 2. Then I'm going to have 36 to the power of 1 over 2. X to the power of 1. X to the power of 2 multiplied by 1 over 2. So when you multiply 2 with half, you're going to get what? Oh, half of 2 is equal to 1, which is the same as nothing, but I'm just going to write it for simplicity purposes, right? Then I'm going to have 36 to the power of 1 over 2 is equal to 6x. Then this is our final answer. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Angelique, any question?
No, wait, ma'am, I just want to ask, ma'am,
Mhm.
why, ma'am, why did you turn the exponent into a half, ma'am?
Because I just changed the square root. So when you want to change the square root, or when you want to remove the square root, you're going to put everything that's inside the square root in brackets, and then you power it to the power of 1 over whatever. So remember, I don't know if you were here, we said if we have square root of 20 and we want to get rid of the square root, we're going to put whatever that's inside the square root inside the brackets, and then we're going to power it with 1 over 2, okay? And we said if we have not square root, but cube root of 20, if we want to get rid of the cube root, we're going to say 20 inside the brackets to the power of what? 1 over 3. And then if we have fourth root 4, fourth root of 20, we're going to put whatever that's inside the brackets, which is 20, close the bracket to the power of 1 over 4. So if it's just the square root, it doesn't have anything. We have invisible 2 here. That's why we power it with 1 over 2, right? But then if it's 4, 5, 6, you're going to say power it with 1 over 4, 5, 6, whatever number that's here. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Let's see, let's see. Let's see, letter B. Langelihle. Is it true or false? And what's the reason?
Ma'am, it's false, ma'am.
False, and why?
Ma'am, because ma'am, 5 times 5 is 25, and when putting that, yes, ma'am, when putting that in, the answer you get is 5. The final answer you get is 5, but for the export, for the power you have on x, ma'am, it won't stay as 2 because it will be added to the other 5. Yeah, other 5. So the inside will be 4. Then when you're done calculating the 25 and turns into a 5, it will stay as 4. And that's not the final answer for that sum, ma'am. That's why I say it's false.
Wait, can you say that again? I'm a bit confused. You say, how did you get to 25? Langelihle?
Ma'am, I don't remember what you called it, ma'am.
What?
I don't remember what you called it, ma'am.
The
The
square.
sign that's covering, yeah, the square root, ma'am. The square root. Yes, ma'am. When you times the 25, the 5 and 5 together, ma'am, with the x to the power of 2, ma'am, the final answer will be 25 x to the power of 4, ma'am. Then when you square root it, ma'am, the answer will be 25x to the power of 4, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
That's before square root. That's before square rooting. And after square rooting, the answer will become. Hey, ma'am, I just want to ask you a question, ma'am. For the x, for the power of x, ma'am, the 4 to the power of x, ma'am, does it stay as 4 even after using the yes, ma'am, even after changing the 25 to 5, ma'am, does it still stay as 4 or does it change to 2, ma'am?
So I said when you want to remove the square root, you want to put everything inside the brackets, which is 25x to the power 4 in this case. And then we're going to power it with 1 over 2 because the square root doesn't have anything here. If I had 3, then we were going to say 1 over 3 instead, but there's nothing, right? So that means it's 1 over 2, okay? And then this 1 over 2 is going to multiply all the powers inside the bracket, given that there is no sign between the terms inside the brackets. There's just one term inside the bracket, which is the case, right? So 25 has to the power of 1 and x has a power of 4, right? So that means we're going to have 25 to the power of 1 multiplied by 1 over 2. And then again, we're going to have what? We're going to have x to the power of 4 multiplied by 1 over 2. And then we have 25 to the power of 1 over 2, x to the power of 4 over 2. And then we have what? What is this? That is 5x to the power of 2. Does it make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's look at 3. 3 says simplify. This is here y to the power of 6 multiplied by y to the power of 6. Y to the power of 6 multiplied by y to the power of 6. Busisiwe.
Sorry, ma'am. Ma'am, I got y to the power of 12, ma'am.
Y to the power of 12. 6 times 6 is equal to 12.
Ma'am, it's 6 plus 6, ma'am.
Is it not 6 times 6?
Ma'am, I don't think so.
Why?
Ma'am, because ma'am, like the bases are the same. So ma'am, when the bases are the same, we add the exponents.
Perfect. So when the bases are the same, we add the exponents, right? So basically that's what the y to the power of 6 multiplied by y to the power of 6 is going to be y to the power of 12, because when you're multiplying the same bases, we add the exponents, right? So 6 plus 6 is equal to 12. So we have y to the power of 12 in that case. Let's look at B. That's great, which is here. Let's look at B. For B, we have 125x to the power of 2 plus 44x to the power of 2. Langelise, 125x to the power of 2 plus 44x to the power of 2.
Ma'am, the answer will be 169 to the power of 2, ma'am.
169x to the power of 2. Perfect. And then let's look at what? Let's look at number 4. Sorry. Langeliche. A says square root of y to the power of 12. How are we going to simplify that?
Ma'am, first we'll minus the 25 from the 16, ma'am. That answer will be 9, ma'am.
Sorry, you're going to?
Ma'am, first you minus the 25 and the 16, ma'am. Then the answer will be
The power
9, 8 to the power of 2.
square root of y to the power of 12.
Oh, sorry, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, will the answer be y to the power of 6, ma'am?
Y to the power of 6. How did you get y to the power of 6?
Ma'am, I don't know, ma'am.
How did you get y to the power of 6? You said your answer is y to the power of 6. Take me through the steps on how you got to that.
Ma'am, the first thing I did, ma'am,
Mm-hmm.
I did a similar thing you did, ma'am, where with the exponents of the y, ma'am, I just put a bracket over it and times it by exponent half, ma'am. Then my calculator gave me 6, ma'am.
Okay, so firstly, you need to get rid of the you need to get rid of what? Of the square root. So it's square root of y to the power of 12. When you get rid of the square root, you're going to put everything that's inside the square root inside the brackets. When you're removing the square root, you're going to place everything that was inside the bracket. I'm sorry, that was inside the thing, the square root, cube root of the root. And then you power it to the power of 1 over 2, right? And then the 1 over 2 is going to multiply whatever that's going to be inside the brackets. In this case, we have y to the power of 12. So 1 over 2 is going to multiply the exponent 12. So that means you're going to have 12 divided by 2, which is equal to 6. So that is equal to y to the power of 6. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Amazing stuff. Let's look at B. Boosie. Let's see where.
Um,
And then C, it's going to be yours, Langelise. And the last one, which is D, is going to be Boosie Suez. Okay, Boosie?
ma'am, so I'm gonna add, ma'am, since they are also like terms, ma'am. So it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be 125 plus 44, ma'am, which gave me 169 x squared. So, ma'am, it's square roots of 169 x squared, ma'am. And then I used your method, ma'am. I said 169 to the power of 1 over 2, ma'am, which gave me 13. And then, ma'am, 2 to the power of, ma'am, when I do 2 to the power of 1 over 2, ma'am, it gives me a decimal.
When you do what?
Ma'am, 2 to the power of 1 over 2, ma'am.
Where do you get 2 to the power of 1 over 2? Hmm?
Ma'am, in terms of the x,
In terms of the x.
ma'am, ankere is x squared. So, ma'am, I also have to simplify the x squared, ma'am. But, ma'am, when I say 2 divided by 2, it gives me, ma'am, just 1. So, ma'am, like, if I say 2 divided by 2, ma'am, my final answer is 13x.
Your final answer is
Ma'am, my final answer is 13x, ma'am.
sharp. We have 169 x to the power of 2. And you said, what is the. Okay, no, it's fine. We're going to place everything that's inside the root inside the brackets. So it's 169x to the power of 2. We're going to power it with 1 over 2 because we just want to get rid of the square root, right? So it's going to be 1691 to the power of, to the power of 1 multiplied by 1 over 2, x to the power of 2 multiplied by 1 over 2, guys. And then we have 169 to the power of 1 over 2. And then what? We also have x to the power of 2 over 2, because 2 multiplied by 1 over 2 is the same as what? Is the same as 2 over 2, right? Because the 1 is going to multiply the 1, and the 2 is going to multiply the 1 will multiply with 2, right? So 2 multiplied by 1 is 2, and 1 multiplied by 2 is 2. I'm having 2 over 2 here. Then 169 to the power of 2, you said how much is it? What is square root of 169? Is it a whole number or is it decimal? Guys, what is square root of?
Ma'am,
Mm-hmm.
ma'am, the answer is 13.
13. Thank you. So we have 13x, just 13x because 2 over 2 is equal to 1. So we're just going to have 13x. Any question? Angelite, are you good? Let's look at yours, Angelite. What is the first thing that we're going to do?
Ma'am, first, ma'am, we're gonna minus the 25 from the 16, ma'am.
Is there like
That, ma'am,
and
if you repeat that, ma'am.
yes, I'm just adding to what you're saying. I'm saying because you're saying we went to minus 25 with 16. So I said because they are like terms. Yes, you're right.
Yes, ma'am, the answer will be 9/8 to the power of 2, ma'am. Then
9, 8 to the
you,
power. Mm-hmm.
yes, ma'am, then you square root it, then you square root the 9 to 8 to the power of 2, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
The answer will be 3A, yes, 3A, ma'am.
3A, and that is going to be your final answer. That's good. I'm happy. And Busisi, where square root of 121 y to the power of 2.
I got 11y, ma'am.
Perfect. The answer is going to be 11 y. So square root of 121 is 11. Y to the power of 2. Square root of y to the power of 2 is y, right? So now the answer is going to be 11y. Simple. Um, any questions, guys?
No, ma'am.
Question, that's great. Ife, are you also happy? No question from your side. Great, let's see. Oh, Zilla, you have been here the whole time. Zira? Hello, Zira, are you there? Okay. Um, guys, I will just end the lesson here, and I'll see you guys next week when we meet. And those of you that are going to be writing on Monday before we meet, good luck with your exams and have a great weekend and study productively. Okay, bye guys.
Hi, ma'am.